Okay, here we go, guys. We got a few things to cover. It's an important sneaker, obviously. It's the New Balance 1300 Japan. Yes, 1300 JP. The JP stands for Japan. I got this from Commonwealth today. I'm a happy boy. And there's a story behind this. I wasn't supposed to get this. As you know, this was raffled off via Cop Date. And I guess you could say I got an L. I didn't get the notification. I wasn't picked. Long story short, that was a Saturday. Sunday morning, I played my usual basketball, and I decided to go to Commonwealth. The closest to me was the one at Makati, Greenbelt. And I just said, my mindset was, the 1300 couldn't have sold out because they're expensive, and you know, we're not really an NB nation. NB is not as big as, you know, it's not a Kanye West release. It's not a Yeezy. It's not a Jordan. It's a New Balance. It's an important New Balance, but it couldn't be as hot as the other sneakers, all right? So that was my mindset. I took a shot, I took a gamble. I went to Commonwealth in Makati, and guess what? They had two pairs available, and I was lucky enough to get one of the two. So here we go. We're reviewing the shoe, and I'm gonna tell you about the 1300, why they're so expensive, why they are so important for New Balance heads, and all right, let's do this. Let's do the unboxing, the unbagging first. Take a look at the packaging, guys. It looks like I bought something from looks like a wedding gift, you know what I mean? With this accent over here. Right, that's cute. Here we go. This is a thin box, man. It's the box looks cheap. The sneakers are $340. They're $340 here in Manila. In the US, they're $299. That's just the way it is. That makes sense, right? It's a thin box. You see that there's perforations over here. It's close to the original, and you know what? It might be the exact same box that came out in 1985, because that's the idea with the 1300s. One of the reasons why they're so expensive is that they try to replicate the original, down to the box, down to the stitching, which I'm going to explain further as we go on with the review. So you got your box over there. Sneaker information, MJ 1300 JP. JP3. JP means Japan. Let's talk about Japan first. This is a 1985 sneaker. It came out in 1985. And it was one of the more expensive sneakers. It's one of the most expensive sneakers of the time. When it came out, it was $130. It was one of two 3-digit $100 sneakers. And guess what the other sneaker was? The New Balance 990, right? And one of the ads from 1985, when they were promoting the product, was "Mortgage the house." The line on the ad went, "Mortgage the house," because you needed that much money to be able to purchase these sneakers. So they're crazy like that. They're not bashful about being an expensive sneaker. We got a bag over here, a sling bag with a New Balance 1300 PU-EVA end cap 2020 limited edition. It is a limited edition pair, obviously. One of the reasons the price is insane like that. Here you go. I'm not giving you my usual, ooh, that looks pretty, because I did try these on in the store, and I'm done with my oohs and ahs. Alright, so here you go. Let's take out the other shoe. It's the right shoe over here. This is an ugly box, if I'm being honest. It's so thin. Okay, let's address the elephant in the room. These aren't the prettiest sneakers, right? The lead up to the release, I got messages from a lot of you, my viewers, my subscribers, my supporters, and you've asked me if I was gonna pick up a pair. What was my opinion on the 1300s? I've gotten comments saying that they're ugly, and I'm being nice. Some words were used. They look stupid. They're a stupid dad shoe. They're ridiculous. And I get you, believe me. believe me, but I know what I know, and it's a blessing and a curse. It's a simplistic sneaker, no doubt about it, but it's a super important sneaker for a guy who loves New Balance. All right, so that's out of the way. It's not the prettiest sneaker, and I get you, but to me, it is beautiful, and to so many others who understand and who love New Balance. All right. So let's talk about why these are called the JPs, the Japans. These came out in 1985, right? $130 price tag. Not everybody could afford them. Expensive. They didn't become as popular. They didn't fly off the shelves. But Japan embraced this sneaker, this particular colorway. So it made sense for New Balance to call these the JPs when these were retroed in 1995. They were retroed for the first time in 1995, and they called it the Japans to honor how the country, how the nation, and how the people embraced the 1300s. Right? And it's become a tradition to release this every 5 years. So you have your 1995s, 2000s, 2005s, and so on and so forth. So these 1300s were built with perfection in mind. They wanted to be the retros to look as close to the original as possible. I'd like to bring your attention to the inner stitching here on the N logo. See how they're rounded and not done in an acute angle, right? Look at these angles over here. They're rounded. There's an interesting story behind this. There's this Japanese New Balance senior who was sent the earliest samples of the retros, and he called out the American factory that gave him the samples, and he said, the inner stitching is done so perfectly. You did an acute angle. I understand how you guys value perfection and craftsmanship, but that acute angle is not supposed to be acute. Bring it back to that rounded stitch that looks like a mistake, because that's how the 1985s were produced. So, interesting story there. They value they value how it should look, right? So a lot of care was put into the production of these sneakers, and they wanted a perfect copy of the 1985 release. That's impressive. Can we go back to why these are super expensive? I'm going to give you two more reasons. Number one would be Horween Leather. Yes, Horween Leather. That's a leather company that makes footballs, baseball gloves. They use the highest, most premium leathers around, utilizing the best processes. So you have your Horween Leather tag right here. All right, that's Horween Leather here at the toe, at the saddle, at the eye stays, and at the heel counter. And another reason, of course, would be the end cap midsole technology. It was a new technology in 1985. The 990s utilized end cap as well. I've talked about end cap countless times in my other New Balance vlogs. It's a midsole technology that utilizes, it's composed of polyurethane and EVA. All right, it's a stabilizer. It promises you a solid ride, right? Because this sneaker is rooted in performance. They're more a lifestyle these days, but these are a running sneaker, essentially, fundamentally. Okay, there you go, guys. They're super expensive, but they do look like a sneaker that you'd want to wear every day. You know, it's probably the colorway, it's probably the design language. They just look like an everyday comfortable sneaker, but they're expensive, so you don't wanna wear them every day. You know what I mean? It's a paradox of a sneaker. They look nice, they're beautiful, but at the same time, they're too simple, a little too simple, if I may say, right? But to me, they're beautiful. The beauty of the sneaker lies in its simplicity. The beauty of the sneaker lies in its history. New Balance fans know what these sneakers are about, and we can definitely appreciate the 2020 1300 Japan release. Okay, so what do you think of the sneaker? Are you a New Balance head? And understand if you find these a little too steep for how they look. I totally get it, all right? They're not for everybody, and I guess I like it that way. You know, part of being a sneaker enthusiast is having exclusivity. You want exclusivity. You don't want to walk in a room and find 10 other people with the same sneakers as yours, and with a 1300 Japans, you're sure that you get that exclusivity, because they're expensive and they're not prettied up like Yeezys and so many other sneakers out there. Alright, that's it for the episode. What do you think of the sneakers? What do you think of my review? Hit me up in the comments, let's have a conversation. And before we go, I'd like to remind you that your value as a person is not measured by what's on your feet. Be kind, that's more important than sneakers. I'll see you next time.